Welcome to a new episode from English Plus Podcast. Today we have Vocabulary Builder and we will talk about life on the range. But before we talk about our little story and the words we're going to learn from the story, you will find in the description, in addition to the regular stuff, the transcript and a link to the exercises, the interactive activities, etc., you will find a link to my online learning page on my website, and there you will find special discounts on my online courses that will last for 4 days only, so you'd better act fast. I'm talking about 90 to 95% discounts on my 6 courses on Udemy. We have vocabulary builder courses, common mistakes. We have special vocabulary courses for people's appearance and character. And also for the ones interested in Microsoft Word, there is a course that will teach you how to create long documents in Word like a professional. And there is another course on PowerPoint, which will teach you everything you need to know about PowerPoint in a project-based format. So if you're interested, follow the link and take advantage of the discount that's only going to last for 4 days. So you'd better hurry up. So now, without further ado, let's get back to our vocabulary builder. Today, as I said, we're going to talk about life on the range. So let's hear the story.
Life on the range. Although cowboys have been portrayed as romantic figures in American folklore and film, in reality, their life on the trail was anything but romantic. From about 1865 to 1890, cowboys drove approximately 10 million head of cattle from ranches in southern Texas to faraway northern locations. Where the herds went changed during that period. At first, the drives supplied cattle to forts, mining towns, and reservations. Later, with the coming of the railroad, the destinations were railroad towns in Kansas or Nebraska, where the cattle were sold for beef to eastern buyers. Regardless of the destination, the trip was dangerous and exhausting. In addition to stampedes, cowboys encountered many other hazards on the drive. Along with dangers, almost anything could retard the long journey. If the raging rivers they had to cross didn't slow the cowboys down, then the weather would. Cowboys were routinely pelted by hail and plagued by dust storms. They were also often sickened by the food that was available to them. The majority of the cowboys who drove cattle were Texans. Some were ex-Confederate soldiers, others were former slaves. Most were young, all were small. Their size made it easier for the horses to carry them over long distances. Cowboys also had something else in common. All worked long hours for very low pay, for up to 4 months at a time before resting or returning home. Only teamwork got them through the ordeal. Cowboys soon learned that cattle could be managed most effectively in herds of about 2,500 head, with 8 to 12 cowboys for each herd. Cattle drivers worked together to herd, round up, watch, and brand the cattle. This teamwork was indispensable to the success of any cattle drive.
All right, so that was our story about life on the range. And now let's get to the words that we want to focus on today. And we have 6 words to talk about from the story. We'll start right away with the very first word, hazard. In the story we said, in addition to stampedes, cowboys encountered many other hazards on the drive. Well, we're talking about the trip was dangerous, the trip was exhausting. We're talking about stampedes that are very dangerous and life-threatening. And we have this word, other hazards, on the drive. So what is a hazard, which is spelled, by the way, H-A-Z-A-R-D? So what is a hazard? A hazard is something which could be dangerous to you, your health or safety, or your plans or reputation. The hazard does not always refer to physical danger. It can be dangerous to many aspects of your life. So that was about hazard. Let's take a look at the second word we have today. Along with dangers, almost anything could retard the long journey. We talked about raging rivers. We talked about weather that could slow down the journey. Or, as we said here, retard. R-E-T-A-R-D. Retard. If something retards a process or the development of something, it makes it happen more slowly. So, it slows down. We can say slows down, of course, but retard is a fancy word. Actually, it's a formal word that you can use to talk about this specific meaning. And now let's move to the next word, pelt. In the story we said, cowboys were routinely pelted by hail and plagued by dust storms. When we were talking about the dangers and the things that slowed them down or retarded their journey. So pelt here, we're talking about they were pelted by hail. So what is the meaning of pelt, which is, by the way, spelled P-E-L-T? Now, as you can notice, we used pelt here as a verb because, pay attention, pelt as a noun is a completely different thing. The pelt of an animal is its skin, which can be used to make clothing or rugs. That's the pelt, the same word, exactly the same word. But as a verb, it's something completely different. If you pelt someone with things, you throw things at them. So, here they were pelted by hail. Well, obviously no one was throwing things at them, but that is the expression. They were pelted by maybe criticism sometimes, maybe rotten tomatoes, or hail in this context. And in the very same sentence, we also talked about plagued by dust storms. Now, plague is our very next word, and it is spelled P-L-A-G-U-E. So this might be a little bit difficult to spell, so pay attention to it. P-L-A-G-U-E, plague. Now, plague is a very famous noun. A plague is a very infectious disease that spreads quickly and kills large numbers of people. Like when we say a cholera plague or the bubonic plague and others. But plague here, again, is used as a verb. We said they were routinely pelted by hail and plagued by dust storms. So, when we use plague as a verb, what do we mean by that? If you are plagued by unpleasant things, they continually cause you a lot of trouble or suffering. So that is the meaning of plague, if you are plagued by something. And we usually use it in passive voice. He was plagued by something. She was plagued by something, etc. And here we come to our very next word. And we said they were pelted by hail and plagued by dust storms. They were also often sickened by the food that was available to them. When we say something is available, what does that mean? Well, obviously available is an adjective, and if something you want or need is available, you can find it or obtain it. You can get it. And the food that was available to them, here we're not talking about it in a positive way. We're talking about it in a kind of a negative way. We said the only food available for them was bad. That's what we're trying to say. So sometimes what's available is good, sometimes what's available is bad, but what's available is the thing that you can get or you can find. That's it. You can't find other things. These are the things available. These are the tools available. Make use of them. So that is the meaning of available, and available is spelled A-V-A-I-L-A-B-L-E, available. And now we come to a very last word, and that is indispensable. And that is a long word, but it's a very interesting word. Now first, let's see how we used it in our story. We said that cattle drivers work together to herd, round up, watch, and brand the cattle. The teamwork was indispensable to the success of any cattle drive. So, after we say this expression, do you think that cattle drive would be successful without the teamwork? Obviously, after what we learn in the story, and common sense tells us that no, it is essential. It is the key to success. So that brings us closer to the meaning of the word indispensable. Indispensable is spelled I-N-D-I-S-P-E-N-S-A-B-L-E. Indispensable. And if you say that someone or something is indispensable, you mean that they are absolutely essential and other people or things cannot function without them. So that is our word, indispensable. And that was all the words that I wanted to share with you today. But remember, we have 14 more words waiting for you in the link. You can find the description and you can practice all these new words using the interactive activities we have on Quizlet. We also have the downloadable PDF with crossword puzzles, word searches, spelling exercises, etc. And of course, a multiple choice quiz. So you can use all that to expand your vocabulary even more. And by practicing the words, you will make them part of your active vocabulary bank, which is very important. The words you use, not only the words you understand. And remember, you can find the transcript of this episode in the same link I'm going to leave in the description. And don't forget to check the online learning page where you can get your special discounts. This is your host, Danny. Thank you very much for listening to another episode from English Plus Podcast. I will see you next time.